Okay, so I'm just going to focus on the next couple of years because the world's changing so fast. What's happening in 10 years, I don't know.
TokenEyes, the language of the new blockchain-based financial markets. Can you speak it? Subscribe to TokenEyes and let's find out together.
My name is Rachel Freeman, and I lead advisory for financial institutions at the International Finance Corporation. IFC has a network of 900 banks, and all of our banks have come to us and said that they would like to digitalize. But it takes a long time for each one of them to do this. And when we saw that there was a market failure between banks and fintechs, we realized that this was something that we had to engage in. We partnered with the ASEAN Bankers Association and the Monetary Authority of Singapore to create the ASEAN Financial Innovation Network that would both help banks and fintechs better work together, but in the same way become a voluntary industry movement for better regulation and better fintech bank collaboration that would end up in improved financial inclusion. So initially, this was AFIN was just going to be about ASEAN. However, over time, we've enlarged that to all Asia Pacific. So we have about 22 countries that are participating. It's just the emerging markets because IFC is only working in emerging and developing markets. So for us, it's most important that AFIN is solely about emerging developing markets. After we created AFIN, we needed a platform, and we wanted to build a platform. So we went through a process, a demonstration of capability process with several firms and picked the Virtusa consortium to build APIX, and that's when APIX came about, was through the consortium, which is Virtusa, Fedor, and Percipient, and Deloitte. So the Virtusa consortium has now established APIX. So first, we have fintechs from all over the world. It can be any fintech, anywhere, that fits a need that fits into what banks in Asia are looking for. However, for now, we're restricting the banks that are participating are only from the 22 countries in this region. So it's ASEAN plus most of the countries in South Asia, Mongolia, and Papua New Guinea, and Timor-Leste. Mongolia is quite an interesting use case because it's a fairly well-banked community, but there's not a lot of services that are available. But they have a greater problem because right now there are very hefty costs involved with branches. And so they're trying to be able to move people to interact more through mobile devices. And that's where they need to partner with fintechs. And so a number of banks in Mongolia have been very interested in the APIX platform, and they've come here to Singapore to learn more about it and how that they can get on, and then they can be exposed to what's happening across the world in the fintech community. However, there are fintechs in Mongolia. I even met fintechs. There's a whole blockchain community in Papua New Guinea. So the whole fintech movement and blockchain and AI is not just the developed countries, but it's happening all over the world. Right now, we're in the process of unloading many banks. So we started with the original 10 to 12 banks who went through the whole process of designing APIX with us and the number of fintechs. But now we're onboarding many banks. So the goal is to onboard between 40 to 60 banks in the next 6 to 9 months. And then actually have this working for banks and fintechs collaborating. But then what we would like to do is build a marketplace and aggregate experimentation. Because in the end, what APIX is about is enabling better experimentation and faster experimentation. And so we do see a role where we would connect with R3's marketplace or through this to other sandboxes that have been set up by regulators so that we can expand by that. But first, we want to make sure that we get the first goal that we set out for done. So that's why we're doing this, because we recognize that for IFC to go the traditional bank-by-bank route, we were not going to be able to reach our goal of universal financial access by 2020. So by doing this, we are enabling more banks to have access to other and newer ideas. So one of the ideas that we're seeing a lot in Africa is this nano lending, but there's almost no nano lending that's happening in Asia. So through this, we're hoping to get actually new ideas into Asia, and with the ultimate goal, the reason we're doing this is for financial inclusion, and both for unbanked people, but also for underserved SMEs, because underserved SMEs drive jobs, and not everybody's going to be an entrepreneur, so we actually want to create more interesting jobs from SMEs, as well as have individual households that have access to finance.